Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. I'm here with Wolves reporter for the day, Mr. Liam Keane. Liam, Wolves won, Fulham 0. Not a classic by any means. I guess the most important thing is they've got 3 points.
Yeah, I think that was the most important thing coming into this game after the 4-0 loss against West Ham. It was a tough watch in that game. So coming into this, you could see they were a bit laboured going into it. They were a bit tentative, sitting off. And Fulham weren't really going for it either. They were quite happy to sit in 2 banks of 4, sort of sit back and defend. I mean, the one time Wolves did open up in the first half, 2 brilliant, double save from Areola there in goal. So it was a difficult first half, which Nuno reflected, having spoken to him after the game, that he wasn't quite pleased with the lack of creativity. I think the lack of urgency at times. But equally, they didn't really have many problems at the back, and then going into the second half a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham made it difficult, didn't they? Obviously, Scott Parker's had words with them. They packed that midfield. They made it very difficult, and they played pretty well. Wolves struggled to break them down, and I think with the changes, with the change of formation, with the change of system, with the change of players, it's difficult sometimes to find that flow. And they were devoid of confidence, basically, weren't they?
Yeah, Fulham have made, I think, 3 changes again today, but they've been regularly changing their system as well. So they seemed a bit disjointed. They need signings. It was the kind of game that Wolves of old might have had a bit of a banana skin in and really not taken the points. I think you can take the positive from that, in that today they overcame what would have been what was a tough test. And the goal by Pedro Neto was really nicely taken. It was a minute after Raul was 1-on-1 and should have put them ahead. I mean, when you're thinking Raul misses that chance, you're thinking that's the golden opportunity they needed. Once he misses that, for them to score so quickly after that, I think stopped the negative connotations of that chance not going in. So yeah, a good goal, a good 3 points. Needed, as I said, after the West Ham game.
Yeah, Pedro Neto was probably the standout outfield player in that West Ham game. He was today as well, worked really hard, and he's been given this role by Nuno, hasn't he? He was on the left for a lot of the game, of course, with Max Kilman, coming into that centre back role, and Saiss on that left wing back. So he was supporting on the left. He was a striker. He was in behind the front 2. He was all over the place. And for such a young lad, he's going to be fantastic. He's a credit to Wolves at this moment in time.
He's taken a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, on those young shoulders, and I think that's something that Nuno's going to like. He's not shying away. He's making himself available for the ball. Whereas other players, I think Daniel Podence struggled a little bit today, coming back from injury. I think he's one of those players that isn't backing down. He's got a little bit of bite about him. He reminds me a little bit of Diogo Jota in that way, that he's got a little bit of a bite about him. He's not afraid to do a job for the team, but also to try and be a creative spark. And as you said, he was coming up on the left, coming through the centre. I mean, the double save that I mentioned in the first half, the first effort came from him. It was really nice interchange play with Saiss. So yeah, I think he's, as you said, a credit to Wolves. He's a very good player.
At the same time, 1-0, you're always nervous, and goodness me, I mean, they were hanging on at the end, and Kamara, I mean, what a chance. I mean,
huge chance.
Wolves are lucky to leave this game and leave this stadium with the win. Absolutely, make no bones about that, because Fulham had some great chances, and look, they've got to play better going forward, because you've got this nice look of games. I guess, well, you say that you're going to Leeds United and just beating Manchester City, so they're going to have to play better than what they have done in these last 2 games. Certainly today, 100%. Last week, because Leeds are a good side, and they're going to have to play. The most important thing, I guess, Liam, is that they haven't had a great start, but at the same time, they haven't drawn games, which they have done in the past. They've won 2, they've lost 2. Rather than draw, and then a loss and a loss. So at least they're getting maximum points when they are winning games.
It's that old adage, isn't it? You'd rather have a loss and a win than 2 draws, because you get extra points. Exactly. So yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it. I think you can get bogged down in the losses, and obviously the West Ham game was a difficult one. But to come away with the 3 points, as you said, considering the chances Fulham had in the last 15 minutes, Cabano came on and had a couple of opportunities, but that one you mentioned of Kamara, I mean, I'd have scored it, I think, to be honest.
Let's not go crazy.
He should be finishing that. He's been put on a plate by Mitrovic. And Wolves got caught. I mean, they were going forward. They had a free kick. They lost possession. They got caught and got counter-attacked. And that's the worry, I think. Being compact was the word that Nuno used. Being compact in defence, particularly at a time when they were dominated up until Fulham then decided to wake up a little bit, and they should really have closed it out earlier than that. In
the history books, though, it goes down as a W, and it might be a dominating 1-0 performance, and Wolves didn't have a kick. No one will remember next season. Wolves won, Fulham 0 for the post-match reaction. Make sure you log on to expressandStar.com.